Good Tuesday morning, everyone. It's David Schlotthauer here in the Weather Center with an update on your weather forecast. In this update, we are keeping an eye on that winter storm for the weekend and early next week, as it could bring decent snowfall for the Great Lakes and the Northeast. And then I am really concerned about how cold the temperatures could get for the weekend into much of next week as a serious Arctic invasion drops southward. So to start off the video, here's a look at the latest GOES 16 geocolor satellite imagery over the entire United States. And what we have going on right now is this much colder Arctic air moving in across the Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin, as well as portions here of the upper Midwest, such as Indiana, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. But where that colder air is thickest, we are seeing lake effect cloud cover. Some of that cloud cover is producing some lake effect snow over and off of Lake Michigan, Lake Ontario, Lake Erie, as well as Lake Superior. So yeah, gonna be an interesting day when you wake up and you find yourself dealing with some snow for your morning commute. All right, but this is going to be the beginning of what is going to be a very concerning, serious Arctic invasion by the early part of next week. Now let's go to the forecast and look at who's going to get the snow and who's going to get the rainfall. But if you're enjoying the video so far, folks, please don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit the bell notification icon to get all of my updates here as I do upload every single day. Now looking at Friday evening here on the 17th day of January 2025, and as we can see the map here, this is the entire United States here, so I want to briefly outline this really quickly. There is Florida, there is the Northeast, here is the Great Lakes up over here. I hope I did a pretty good job at outlining that, because some of you are having a hard time at looking at this map, and that's how it is in the meteorological world. We have these lines of equal pressure on top of these other lines of thermal dynamics, and of course we have the state lines. So that's why it's a little tough at looking at this map, but I'll do my best at indicating on where we're looking at, okay? So for Arkansas, for southern Missouri, right here, I have this circled in here. There is a chance of showers and thunderstorms for your Friday evening. So for your evening commute, you can get some wet roadways out of this and some breezy southerly winds. There could be a marginal risk for severe weather, driven mainly by strong winds and maybe a weak, brief tornado or two. And then by Saturday morning on the 18th day of January, you can see for the southeast, also for southern Alabama, that's where you have the best chances of more severe weather where all this heavier rain is falling. So southern Alabama, southern Mississippi, and central Georgia, that's where you have the best chances of seeing the heaviest rainfall for Saturday morning. And then of course up here across Ohio and Indiana, that's where you have the best chances of seeing snowfall for this weather system. Now, this is not looking as significant as what we thought. Most of our models are in better agreement today, but nonetheless, there will be snow. Some areas could get maybe up to about 6 inches, maybe 8 inches, and other areas may see just a couple of inches out of this. But the big deal we'll get into for the second part of this video will be the amount of cold, dangerous Arctic air that filters in the wake of this system. So this continues all the way through Saturday afternoon into the evening hours of the 18th day of January. There is your snow right up here in the Northeast. We have another weather system that wants to develop up across the high plains, such as Denver, Colorado, northern Texas, portions of Oklahoma. So yeah, that's going to be the next system that we might need to be watching closely for as it interacts with some of this moisture in the deep south. There is your rainfall that moves across southern Georgia into northern Florida, and that's going to continue. That front is basically going to stall out there. So yeah, if you're seeing a lot of rainfall in the northeastern portion of Florida, which this model does show that, might get quite a bit of rainfall, maybe an inch or two out of that. And then that's basically the end of it. And then we may get another reinforcement of another punch of moisture moving across the northeast. And this would be for Sunday afternoon into Monday morning. And then beyond that, there's a lot of uncertainty on how this Arctic air mass modulates through the rest of the work week next week. All right. Some models do not show any more winter storms developing out of this versus some other models like the GFS wants to develop more additional storms. Even the Canadian is showing something pretty similar. So right now, there is a lot of low confidence in the forecast to where I'm not going to really bring it up in today's or this morning's video just because there's just not a whole lot down here, and the models have not been too excited, too enthused about something developing down here in the Gulf Coast of the US, the lower 48. But otherwise, definitely a cold one for most of next week. Now, how does the GFS model resolve this? Well, it's a little bit more aggressive than the European model, and that's why we are using two different models in this video. So we can see the GFS here initializing this, or well, initialized just a little bit ago. And this is the forecast for Friday afternoon. So you can see not as aggressive on the GFS for Friday evening over Missouri and Arkansas versus the European model being a little aggressive. But that doesn't matter a whole lot because by Saturday morning, you can see here for Alabama, for Mississippi, if you're in Tennessee, if you're in Georgia, you have a good shot at seeing some pretty intense rainfall here. This could be a severe weather day or severe weather morning, especially where we have this orange here. That is some really heavy rain, lightning, thunder, strong winds, that sort of thing. Nothing too organized as far as tornadoes, that sort of thing. But yeah, definitely some interesting conditions for Saturday morning on the 18th. And then, of course, up here in the Great Lakes, that's where you have the best chances of snow. And then that moves through, and the GFS, yeah, just a little bit of snow out of this. Nothing too substantial. No nor'easter. We'll get away with it this time. But there will be some snow up here across the Northeast, the Great Lakes region, and portions of the upper Midwest. But then we will have to wait and see how this Arctic high really sets up. This is a strong high here at 1052 millibars. That would be for Monday into Tuesday into Wednesday next week. So yeah, while it's dry, you're going to have some of the coldest temperatures so far this winter season, and there are some chances we could have some of the coldest temperatures in probably a decade in some areas. That's a possibility. And then we'll see down here that system for Tuesday, for Wednesday next week. A lot of uncertainty, and that is why I am not putting a lot of my time into this video at talking about, oh, so-and-so is going to get snow on this particular day. Other YouTubers are taking off and saying, oh, we're going to actually potentially have a big winter storm by the middle of next week. We'll see about that. It is still far out. This is 192 hours out. You can see right up there. So yeah, it's beyond the 7-day forecast, and we all know how 7-day forecasts can go this far out. Right now they're aggressive with this snowstorm, but I bet you as we get closer, they might downtrend, they might uptrend, they might wiggle back and forth. So expect that this far out in time. Now, the snowfall forecast isn't too impressive, but yeah, it's decent for what it's worth, right? For the higher elevations here of, say, West Virginia, if you're in Pennsylvania, yeah, Western Pennsylvania, that is, you might see up to about 6 inches of snow. Some of the higher elevations here of West Virginia might see up to maybe 10 inches of snow. And then portions of the Great Lakes here, you might see about 3 to 7 inches of snow. Isolated areas, maybe more than about 10 inches. And of course, over here where you have that lake effect snow off of Lake Erie, you might get about a foot of snow due to lake effect. So again, not really a big snow producer, but it is going to be awfully, awfully cold. Wait until you see how cold these temperatures will get. Now let's talk about the Arctic air that everyone is concerned about, because myself, I'm concerned about how cold it's going to be for where some of my viewers are watching this from, okay? Especially in the northern tier of the United States, which always gets the worst Arctic air because it's further north, the sun angle's lowest, versus areas further south. So this is for Tuesday morning. This is your wind chill index forecast, all right? Because the wind chills are going to matter a whole lot with this Arctic air mass, because we're going to get some strong winds that are going to blow in that colder air, and it's just going to blow it all around and makes it feel colder outside. So for Tuesday morning, yeah, your wind chill values 40 degrees below zero. That's your wind chill forecast for Tuesday morning here across the Dakotas as well as Minnesota. And this is going to continue, but it's going to get better only temporarily by Thursday. Your wind chill values not so bad, but look at where all that cooler air is moving into, like the Ohio Valley. -1 is your wind chill index. Some of the higher elevations here, it might be -13 degrees. And this is going to continue to basically modulate or moderate itself a little bit as we go through the end of the work week, but don't get used to it. I'm just telling you right now, I'm giving you a fair warning here, because this is some cold air up here. Look at these wind chill values. In northern Manitoba, Saskatchewan, -60 degree temperature wind chill values for Saturday morning. That is pretty dangerous. That is something to take very seriously. If you watching this from Manitoba and Saskatchewan, limit yourself. Well, don't even go outside, because you'll get frostbite in as little as, say, 2 to 5 minutes. And this colder air is going to sink southward. You can see by Saturday evening, and then by Sunday morning, look at just how low these wind chill values are. -30 degrees, and then you get up here in the Dakotas, -35 to -40 degree Fahrenheit temperatures. And then, of course, up here in Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Quebec, and Ontario, those wind chill values are -35 to -50 degrees below zero. So yeah, we are talking about some pretty serious Arctic air temperatures, something that we have not seen in a while. And this could continue, or will continue, into Monday morning next week. Look at these wind chill values, -50 degrees. Yeah, that is something you don't want to mess with. That you really don't. That is pretty dangerous when you think about it. And then the Great Lakes, the Northeast, yeah, -5, -20 degrees, -15 degrees up here across the Ohio Valley and the extreme Northeast. And then a colder air finally breaks a little bit, but still, it's going to feel like 20 degrees. Some areas here could feel like 15 degrees down there in Texas by the middle to the end of the work week. And then maybe another Arctic air mass may drop down, but not quite as bad as the one that you're about to deal with for this weekend into the early part of next week. So now we're going to be looking at our ensemble forecast as far as our temperature anomalies go, because I don't want to look at one specific model run, which is a deterministic forecast, because yeah, I want to try to keep this as, what would you call it? Not really hyping it up, I would say. I'm just trying to keep this a little bit more generous, in other words. So we're going to be looking at the European and the GEFS, and then the Canadian briefly. So the European ensemble forecast is indicating that temperatures will be well below average, on the order of, say, 15 to 20 degrees below normal. This is for Monday and Tuesday next week, when the coldest air will be overspreading much of the U.S. So definitely bundle up buttercups, because, yeah, your buttercups will probably be crunchy when you bite them, because, yeah, it's going to be so cold. It's going to be like putting your Reese's in the freezer. So what are the chances of you seeing temperatures of 10 degrees Fahrenheit in a given area? This is based on the European ensemble. So any areas in red here, you have a 100% chance of seeing temperatures that are going to be 10 degrees. And this would be for Monday morning. So yeah, this covers a pretty decent area. And then, of course, in Texas, chances are pretty low. If you're in Oklahoma, you have a 20 to 40% chance of seeing temperatures of at least 10 degrees for your morning hours, and then for the Northeast. But what about temperatures of 0 degrees? What does that look like? Yeah, so areas like, say, Illinois, right here, for the early morning commute, yeah, there's a little bit of an area of 90 to 100% chance you could have temperatures as low as 0 degrees. And then, of course, the Rockies and the northern tier of the United States, this is where the more serious Arctic air is going to be. You have a 100% chance. And this continues. For the Northeast, too, you have a 60 to 80% chance of seeing temperatures of at least 0 degrees for the morning hours of Monday. So inauguration day is going to be awfully chilly for many locations. But really quickly, here's your risk of hazardous temperatures, and anything in the darkest blue here is a high risk for hypothermia, for a lot of health-related issues because of the cold Arctic temperatures. Protect your plants, bring all pets in, bring all your plants in if you care about them so much. I know I love my plants out in the backyard, so make sure you bring them in, protect your outdoor water plumbing, and bring all pets in. I've said that twice already, so please, please, please. We do not want any fatalities, any emergency calls because people cannot breathe or they are having a hard time regulating their body temperatures because of how cold it's going to be. And there's a moderate risk here also for the Great Lakes and across even portions of Texas and the Midwest. But anyways, if you found this video really helpful, informative, and detailed, please don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the like button, and share this video with your family and friends on social media. It really, really helps out, folks. I cannot believe we are already at 37,000 subscribers. Thanks to all of your guys' awesome support. So I want to give a huge thank you to all of you that have really helped my YouTube channel blown up over the last 2 weeks. I mean, our recent video just a day ago reached 71,000 views. So I want to say a huge thank you to all of you that have been sharing these videos out. And please do the same in this video because, yes, it's not easy uploading these early in the morning hours and me going to bed late. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you back here in the next video, more than likely tomorrow morning.